I would say from the time that I started learning from Birdie until the time that I actually began doing psychic readings and spiritual healings full-time as a living, it took about 12 years. There was this whole period of time before I decided to do this full-time as a profession where I made a decision, okay, I'm just going to have a normal life. I'm going to have a normal job, and in spite of what that psychic said, I'm going to have the kind of life I want to have. So I was a secretary for a while, I was a chemical dependency counselor for a while, and I was also a barber for a while. But no matter what I did, and no matter how stubborn I got about this, my psychic abilities just wouldn't go away. As a matter of fact, they would just continue to get stronger on their own. I would be in the grocery store and my hands would just suddenly heat up. And I learned from my teacher that what that meant was that there was someone around me that was sick and needed some healing energy. My teacher had told all of us that we had spirit guides, and I you know, the whole idea kind of creeped me out. Like, my God, you mean there's spirits that follow me around all day and they see everything I do and they know my thoughts? And I didn't really understand, you know, why I even needed these spirit guides, especially if I couldn't see them. But I remember asking her, well, how do I get to know these guys? I mean, how do you really know they exist? And she said, just tell them that you want to know them. You want to get to know them. You want to know when they're around. You want to know their name. She said, have an ongoing conversation with them. And so what I would do when I would get in my car is I'd be driving and I'd just say, well, I don't know if you guys are here, but if you're here, and I'd ask them questions and, you know, nothing would come. But I just kept up these conversations with midair. And then one day I was in the kitchen washing dishes and a voice said to me, my name is Theodore, but you can call me Teddy. And then another voice said, my name is Anna. And I just stood there just frozen. I was scared to turn around because I thought, oh my God, what if they're right there? And but I slowly turned around and there wasn't anybody there, and I was very relieved. But I said, well, talk to me some more. And then I didn't hear from them again for, I don't know, it could have been even a few months before again I heard another voice. You know, to tell you the truth, I don't remember the very first time that I saw my guides. I just remember thinking how normal they looked and how unspooky they were. I thought they were going to be real spooky looking, but they were just like folks, just regular folks. There were a couple of occasions where I would be out on a date with somebody, and my spirit guides who I was getting more and more comfortable listening to and hearing, they would say things like, watch out for him, he's married, or he's got another girlfriend, or, you know, they would just tell me little things. It would show up I remember one time being with a girlfriend in a restaurant. She didn't know anything about my psychic abilities, and I was standing, we were at a cafeteria, we were standing in line, she's talking to me, and suddenly I see her spirit guide standing behind her, and he says, you've got to tell her some things. And I'm looking at this guide, and I'm thinking, forget it, no! And so I'm just trying to have this normal conversation with her, and I'm seeing her face, but I'm seeing the spirit guide standing behind her, and he says to me, you have to tell her these things. And so we went and we sat down, and again, I'm just trying to eat my dinner, trying to have a nice, normal, everyday, mainstream kind of conversation. You know, how's your job? How's your job? And again, her guide is standing behind her saying, you have got to tell her these things. So I thought, okay, all right. And I said to her, I need to tell you something really fast, and I'm sorry to do this to you, but I have psychic abilities, and sometimes I can see people's spirit guides, and you have a spirit guide, and he wants me to tell you some things. And I couldn't even look at her. I was just so embarrassed. I felt real apologetic for the way that I was, and I told her everything that he said, and afterwards she started to cry, and she said, you know, just this morning I was talking to God and I asked him about everything that you just gave me an answer to. And she said, but I got to tell you, you scare the absolute hell out of me. And I said, I'm really sorry, you know. And I noticed after that, we did not socialize anymore after that. So those kind of things would happen. And I kept seeing that people would either go away or they would be very nervous around me. And so I also became aware of how isolated I felt a lot of the time because of the psychic and healing gifts.